what are some best practices for driving cross-selling, upselling, and renewals, specifically with demand generation? Stephanie, if you'd like to start.
Yeah. So cross-selling, maybe the first one, most important one, or where there's the most to add. I spoke earlier about heat map. So build that heat map, find the next typical product for purchase with lookalike customers and or use case. Intent data could help, but I would say intent data would really help on finding the purpose and when is the right moment to sell. So if they're currently looking for something and you find it through intent data, well, that's the time to pick up the conversation. Build a small scale kind of reactivation of activation program center that around those similar use cases. And probably most importantly, use your customer as champion. Put them in front of your other customers and let them lead the show for you. Because they will speak way better. They will be your best advocate. And they're talking to each other. So they're going to be keen to know more. For upsell, it's really more, at least for us, checking the usage of the products. Sometimes some people will use, some company will use the products the first stage, especially a little bit. And then some people will kind of max out the capacity of the product. When they reach that capacity limits, that means that you have a really high chance to upsell and very quickly. Sometimes just a few more connectors for us, a few more users for us. But yeah, it's more around capacity usage. For renewal, this is more, and I know it's going to sound very obvious, but this is more set the time of the renewal in your calendar or someone's calendar. So then they will be reminded to pick up the phone and engage a conversation and start reaching out at the very least 6 months before. I mean, it depends on the length of your subscription contract, right? It could be 2 or 3 years, but just don't come up like a month or two before and say, hey, I haven't heard from you for a while. That obviously sounds very good. You look very opportunistic. But always on engagement will help. They should be the default. And then be mindful that the cross-sell actually often happens at the time of renewal. So if you engage before, if you keep that engagement, if you keep kind of offering the opportunity to broaden the mindset of your customers by offering them the vision that they could do more, then when at the time of the renewal, then you will actually be able to have the conversation about cross-sell and way easier.
Awesome. And Suzanne, did you just want to add anything onto that?
Yeah, look, I agree with Stephanie on the heat maps and the journeys. I think that makes absolute sense. And I think about where we sell and who we sell to and how we sell. And, it's very complex, right? So our sales cycles can be anywhere from, a short sales cycle is 12 months, right? It typically runs anywhere from 18 months to a couple of years. And so, there's lots of buyers that we are having to touch. It's really, in many respects, very much I call it, I'm Italian, so I sort of say, as much as I'd love it to be clear lasagna layers, it's just a spaghetti of, within that organization of who we have to touch with our marketing programs. And so, it requires a lot of capital, and the solutions we sell, sometimes getting our customers to move from what they have to what we would like them to have can be really challenging, right? Because the status quo that they have, it's not too bad. I mean, it's not great, and it might not help drive some of their future requirements, but the challenge to move and the pain points that brings to them just feels so overwhelming. And so what we try and do from a cross-sell and upsell perspective is how do we remove some of that friction and some of those internal challenges that they have in because it's not broken. What the systems they have aren't broken. What we're offering is something that might be a little bit more efficient, might be more allows them to deal with future business challenges and issues. And so previously we used to have, in a previous organization, we had an ROI practice, and it was set up specifically, it was separate. It was a separate practice that was there that worked with our customers and the business to understand, you know, from ground zero, what does this deployment mean? What are the benefits that you perceive to be getting, and really measuring that across the journey, right? So if we talk about it in real terms, they took the RFP and the business case for sign off and then tracked that as we went down a program of implementation. And then when you have an ROI practice and you have a single industry, it's very easy to start building up maturity models based on what's happening with your customers as well as what's happening with the industry, working with analysts. And by building a maturity model, it enables us to be able to go to our customers and ask a few questions about their business. Interestingly enough, ask them where they think they sit on a maturity model, from being reactive to proactive, and, you know, ask the questions and then sort of show them where they are mapped on there. You know, here's the journey to being proactive or being able to, and here is where you sit. You thought you were here, but actually you're back down here. And here is some low-hanging fruit for you that will allow you to your point, Shaheen, start small to build the trust with us. And it might not even be our solution. It could be one of our partner solutions. Start small, prove the model, and then move to the next stage. And I've always found, you know, ROI calculators, maturity models, when you're in long sales cycles, are really helpful to our customers, not only helping them build their business case, but also helping them anticipate what could be in the future. And they evolve, right? Just because we built it today doesn't mean it's the same model that we're going to use tomorrow, because as the industries evolve that we work in, they will evolve as well. So they're very organic, and you know, you can use these models. Once again, if I go back into points of topics for programs with your customers, kind of conversations, customer advisory boards, you know, there's a number of ways which you can use a lot of these type of campaigns.